My husband James called and said sarcastically, "Take a nice walk." I stood with my family laughing with him as he got out of the driver's seat. One hand on my head in shock, I was 8 months pregnant as the luxury SUV moved away from the gas station. The Florida sun beat down while I observed their taillights vanish on their way to the shore, off to a resort getaway without me. My name is Kayla Thompson, and as of right now, I believed I understood the feeling of betrayal. But watching my husband of 3 years leave his pregnant wife at a remote gas station, that was an entirely new level of abuse. His sister and mother, Diana and Ashley, were seated in the rear. I could still see their smug expressions as they drove away. It had all begun as a typical restroom break during our road trip to Daytona Beach. I had asked James to wait for me since walking had become more challenging in my 3rd trimester. But when I emerged, I saw them. They were all pointing at me and laughing. Before I could even reach the car, they left, abandoning me to the sweltering heat. Tom, the owner of the gas station, was an older man with kind eyes. He saw the whole thing and immediately brought me inside the store with air conditioning. He handed me a cold drink, his voice tense with anger. "That ain't right," he muttered. I sat in his tiny office, trying to comprehend what had just happened. My phone was in the car. My purse. Everything. I was essentially stranded with nothing. Tom's wife, Barbara, who helped run the store, brought me some water and crackers. Her face was flushed with righteous anger. "People need to see this," she said. "This is the type of man who abandons his pregnant wife. And his family? Laughing about it? They should be ashamed." A strange calmness settled over me as they called the local news. When the news team arrived, Tom handed them the security footage. "It's all here," he said. Meanwhile, Barbara noticed my hands trembling. "When was the last time you ate, sweetheart?" I realized I had been caught up in the excitement of the trip, our so-called final getaway before the baby arrived. James had insisted his family join us, claiming it would strengthen our bond. I should have known something was wrong when he made me sit in the back seat so his mother could sit up front. I murmured softly. He said it was because of her car sickness. But they were laughing and whispering the whole time. Barbara's expression hardened. Well, they won't be laughing after everyone hears about what they did. My best friend, Nicole, had never trusted James or his family. When I called her using Tom's landline, her voice was urgent. "Kayla, thank God you're okay. You need to see what they're posting on social media." Tom turned his computer screen toward me. On James's Facebook page, there was a set of pictures uploaded just 20 minutes ago. My hands shook as I read the caption. "Finally a trip to relax. Some folks just can't handle the Wilson way of life." The photos showed James, Diana, and Ashley lounging by the pool, sipping cocktails, acting like nothing had happened. The comments were filled with laughter and well wishes from their social circle. Nicole's voice was grim. "Oh, and get this. Diana just announced a new fundraiser for Family Values and Duty through the Wilson Foundation next week." The hypocrisy was unbearable. But then Tom played the security footage on his second monitor. I saw myself walking out of the restroom. My swollen belly was obvious, James's SUV in plain view. The sound was crystal clear as they laughed. Then I heard it, James's voice dripping with mockery. "Have a nice walk," Barbara murmured. "Those aren't people, they're monsters." That's when it hit me. They hadn't just abandoned me. They had deliberately put my unborn child at risk. A sharp pain shot through my abdomen. Barbara saw my face and grabbed my hand. "Honey, are you okay?" Just Braxton Hicks contractions," I assured her. But another wave of pain followed. Tom was already on the phone with emergency services. "Better safe than sorry," he said. The hospital was 40 minutes away. Just as the local news crew arrived, Jennifer Parker, the reporter, took one look at my condition and made an executive decision. "We're taking you to the hospital," she declared. This isn't just about desertion, this is about endangering an unborn child. As we drove, I noticed more news vans arriving. The story was already gaining traction. By the time I was admitted to the hospital, the security footage had hit the major news stations. A nurse peeked into my room that evening. "Mrs. Wilson, you might want to turn on Channel 7. I did. There she was, Diana, my mother-in-law at the resort. Perfectly groomed, her vacation outfit impeccable. She was spinning the narrative. "It's all a misunderstanding," she said smoothly. "Kayla has been very emotional lately. Pregnancy hormones, No, she asked for some privacy, and we respected that. The reporter didn't buy it. But the security footage clearly shows your son laughing as he drove away, leaving his wife, 8 months pregnant, without a phone or a purse in 95-degree heat. How do you explain that?" Diana hesitated. "The video must be misleading." But then, the broadcast cut to the actual footage. James's voice rang out across every TV in Florida. "Have a nice walk!" The internet exploded. The Wilson Family Foundation's social media accounts were flooded with outrage. Their sponsors, major corporations, were publicly severing ties. James's own company, Florida Values Insurance, was losing clients by the second. Then, my phone buzzed. Nicole had retrieved it from the resort, where an employee had found it in their room. "Kayla," she said urgently, "turn on Channel 7. Diana's being confronted right now." The news anchor wasn't holding back. "Mrs. Wilson, what do you have to say about the fact that while you were enjoying cocktails, your daughter-in-law was in the hospital due to stress-induced labor?" The camera zoomed in on Diana's face. For the first time, cracks appeared in her perfect composure. Meanwhile, Jennifer Parker, now at the hospital with her camera crew, turned to me. "Kayla, are you angry?" she asked. "Would you like to make a statement?" I thought about James, his family. I thought about other women who might be trapped in similar situations, feeling helpless against manipulative, heartless people. Sat up straighter in the hospital bed. "Yes," I said. "I want to talk about what happened. Safety." As more texts poured in, James's co-workers were openly separating from him. The CEO of his company had issued a declaration stating that they were quite alarmed by the event and would be looking over the circumstances. Mrs. Thompson, Jennifer, stated, "Your narrative has delicately touched a nerve. Women nationwide are sharing comparable instances of emotional abuse and desertion. You've initiated a..." I put my hand on my belly and moved. "I'm not doing anything," I said, when I felt my daughter kick. I told the camera, "This is for revenge. I'm taking this action because nobody ought to go through what I went through today. And my daughter must understand that her mom confronted bullies, even when the bullies in question were family." By daybreak, the tale had gone viral, more than I could have ever dreamed. The proprietor of the gas station, Tom, showed up on a national morning show, discussing how his security cameras had recorded not just the desertion, but an unsettling discussion prior to my exiting. Tom, they were preparing it in the restroom. He showed millions of viewers the footage. The mother-in-law was heard on the audio saying, "She will learn to humiliate our family." They were giggling about it. A stranded pregnant woman? Who does that? Nicole came into my hospital room in a flash, her face reddened by the news. "Kayla, someone needs to see this." She displayed her tablet to me. Emails from Diana's foundation had been leaked. The internal communications showed a deliberate effort to keep me away from Diana and James. A kindergarten teacher, who was pregnant, wasn't. Wilson content, but the bombshell itself originated from Ashley's texts to James that were leaked. "We will have grounds after the baby is born to say she's not a suitable mother. Your role at Florida Values Insurance and Mom's relationships with the foundation will make sure we are granted custody." The revelation hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just about humiliation. They had intended to remove my suite. A man in a suit named Thompson showed up at my door. Michael Roberts, Chief Ethics Officer at Florida Values Insurance. Would you mind speaking with me? After Nicole left, he went directly to the point. James's employment was terminated with immediate effect. Our business cannot be connected to someone who would put a pregnant woman in danger and purposefully arrange for a mother to be separated from her child. He handed me a folder. These screenshots are from James's firm email, demonstrating that he utilized corporate resources to investigate custody attorneys focusing on maternal fitness cases. We are transferring everything to your legal team. As I read, my palm trembled. James had been laying the foundation for months, recording each minor error I made, ready to use my emotional instability against me. Michael added, "Our HR department found James has a history of workplace harassment. A number of female staff members have now come forward with grievances. They were previously hesitant to file." Jennifer Parker returned with shocking news. Diana's biggest charity partners had severed ties with the Wilsons. The country club, where they held their social gatherings, canceled their membership. Jennifer said, "The resort is deteriorating." They were asked to leave. Their visitors complained about having to share space with those awful individuals from the news. A message chimed on my phone, an unidentified number. From James's Florida Values assistant. I kept the dashcam film for insurance. He and his mother got out of his corporate car. We spent weeks organizing this. I gazed out my hospital window, watching the media crews gather, the speed at which the truth had come to light. The Wilsons had intended to eliminate me. Instead, their own behavior had ruined them. The next day, an unexpected guest arrived, Amanda, James's former executive assistant, holding a thick folder. I'm too anxious to be silent any longer. She sank into the chair beside my hospital bed. The custody strategy. It wasn't just about obtaining the baby. There's a lot of money involved. Sweetie. She spread papers across my bed. Trust fund documents, insurance policies, financial records. A terrifying picture of James and his family emerged. They had taken out multiple insurance policies on me. Policies about my pregnancy, including a significant life insurance policy I knew nothing about. Amanda's voice was unsteady. The abandonment wasn't just cruel, it was calculated. They were trying to push you into distress, into a reaction that they could record so they could take your child. Nicole, pale from shock, whispered, "We must take this to the FBI." This wasn't just viral news anymore. This was an insurance attempt. Right then, Jennifer Parker arrived. "We must be careful how we handle this. The Wilsons still have influential friends. They're already trying to spin this as a publicity stunt." If on cue, my phone flashed with an alert. Diana had uploaded a video statement on the Foundation's website. She was crying. Beautifully staged. "We merely wished to safeguard our granddaughter. Kayla's unpredictable behavior deeply alarmed us." The video cut off abruptly. A phone call ended it. James had just walked in. "Kayla, please," he pleaded. "Honey, sweetheart, everything is out. First, let's talk, privately. We need to consider our daughter's needs." I thought of the insurance policies, the cold calculations, the cruelty. James, you're right. She does need her father, just not one willing to risk her life for money. His voice sharpened. "Kayla, be mindful of what you say." I stared at him. "James, who are you dealing with?" "A kindergarten teacher. Who kept records. Who had witnesses. Who had surveillance footage. Who controlled the national media." The line went quiet. The fake sweetness vanished. I checked my phone. The FBI had just announced an investigation. Diana's foundation funds. The Wilsons' financials. Amanda grinned grimly. "The FBI agents just reached the motel where they're staying. The insurance fraud department is assisting." I touched my stomach fully, feeling my daughter kick hard. She's going to grow up knowing her mother stood up to bullies. Jennifer's camera crew captured the moment. Diana being led out of the motel, her carefully constructed public image shattering Justice sometimes arrives in surprising ways. A week later, I sat in my hospital room holding my newborn, Lily. She had arrived 2 weeks early, perfectly healthy. The TV on the wall broadcasted breaking news. The Wilsons' federal collapse, investigators uncovered. A pattern, insurance fraud. The Wilson household had been running a long con. The attempt to exploit a pregnant woman was only the tip of the iceberg. The video cut to James, being led from his law firm in polished handcuffs. Diana's foundation, dissolving Ashley's. Social accounts? Frozen. Barbara and Tom from the gas station visited. Your daughter has a strong mother. That's worth more than any fancy family name. Nicole adjusted Lily's blanket as we watched James's former company issue a statement. Florida values. Insurance is creating a fund to assist victims of financial manipulation and domestic abuse, using the settlement money from terminating James Wilson. I looked down at Lily. She slept soundly in my arms. She would grow up knowing her mother was strong, not her father's cruelty. The best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about breaking free and building something better.